those Tigers, man, dude, we were glazing them up pretty good. We're like, hey, they got a great run going on here, and they sold at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And now they actually went on the weekend, and they faced the Baltimore Orioles, and they took 2 of 3, and they actually did it, and they stomped on those Orioles when they were down bad, and they did it they did it in a good time because now they are sitting at a wild card spot.
Exactly, yeah. You look over at those standings, everybody, and that American League wild card is not what it looked like a week prior. Minnesota Twins out, Detroit Tigers in. They are right there neck and neck with the Kansas City Royals, occupying that second and that third wildcard spot in the American League. And this is obviously just one hell of a turnaround, right? You're talking about a team that did give away arguably the best starter at the trade deadline in Jack Flaherty. He's been incredible over there on the LA Dodgers, and I look over at the Detroit Tigers, their pitching staff, and I do wonder how the hell they're doing this. Obviously, you have Tariq Skubal, who has been incredible and is very deserving of the Cy Young Award when it does come time for that. He's been phenomenal.
Sure.
But after that, right, there is a massive drop-off in innings pitched between Tariq Skubal and the next guy on the Baltimore Orioles, right? There was Jack Flaherty there, who had over 100 innings, but he's obviously been gone now for the last 2 months. Then you got Reese Olson right there. You got Kenta Maeda, who's been terrible. Like, just atrociously. He is not turned into the player that I think the Detroit Tigers were hoping for.
Well, I've never been on, Kenta Maeda. Even when it was on the Twins, he had one okay season. After that, everyone kept hyping him up, but I don't know. He's never been a good guy for me.
Well, I mean, you're definitely not this year, right? And he's got over 100 innings for them. So, you look at the guys who are starting these games, and it does blow my mind, the lack of depth here.
And how are they able to do it? Yeah, because the one guy that's actually doing really good. So obviously, not one guy. There's multiple guys. You got Tariq Skubal. The one other guy, Tyler Holton. Tell me why since the All-Star break, this dude has 41 innings pitched with a 0.88 ERA. Huh? Who are you?
Yeah, where did that come from?
Who the hell are you? I almost said Lions fans because my Cardinals just faced the Lions.
Yes.
I keep getting you guys mixed up. The Tigers fans, who is this man? He's a 28-year-old guy coming out of effing nowhere. He actually played for Arizona in 2022, and then 2023 played for these guys. Had a 2.11 ERA. My goodness, that guy's been carrying the load as well.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Tyler Holton, bro.
No, and I mean, across the board right now, when you look at this Detroit Tigers team, it's other than Tariq Skubal, there's not a whole lot of names that blow you off the page. Yes, Riley Green is very good. I know that Kerry Carpenter since the All-Star break has been incredible.
Oh, he's been awesome, bro.
Right? You have the numbers in front of you?
Yeah, he's got a 1,000 OPS in 100 at-bats, mind you. So it's actually, I guess he was hurt or something like that. But yeah, literally 1,000 OPS. Kerry Carpenter, congratulations. What a great second half. And that's what you need to have the second half, the historic second half that they've had, man.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It had to be something like this where guys that aren't the big names are picking up the slack. Shout out to Sarah Langs right here for tweeting this out, saying the Tigers were 10 games back of a postseason spot through 118 games. So factor that 118 games. That is, effectively 3/4 of the way through the MLB season. I don't know the exact math, but something like that, right? They were 10 games back of the postseason, dead in the water. This was after they sold, obviously. 4 teams have made the postseason after being 10-plus games out of a postseason spot after 115 games played. The 2011 Cardinals, the 1964 Cardinals, the 1951 Giants, and then also the 1930 Cardinals. So I don't know why the Cardinals just keep doing this, flirting with danger and getting in. But now it's looking like the Detroit Tigers are going to add themselves to that list. And just to put that in perspective, right, you're talking about 4 teams in the history of MLB ever. The last time, 2011, but the last time before that, it was 1964. So this is fucking effectively unheard of.
You want to hear something crazy? The 2011 Cardinals, guess what they did that year? They won the World Series.
They won the World Series in 2011.
They beat the Texas Rangers in the World Series. So Detroit Tigers fans, I would be excited. I don't know how the hell you're doing it. I literally have no idea because you're taping together a bunch of rookies and Tariq Skubal and a whatever hell pitching staff. But you are the hottest team in baseball, other than another team that we're probably going to talk about a little bit later in the show. You're one of the hottest teams in baseball. You're having one of the best historic stretches of all time. This is your season to go do it. I don't know how. Just ride the magic. It's like the Diamondbacks last year, except they didn't finish. Ride this magic.
Yeah. I mean, again, like we've said it so many times that the team that's hottest walking into the postseason, they always have a good shot, and I do think that that's probably part of the reason why the 2011 Cardinals, I'm not familiar with that team.
That's right.
But, probably why they went all the way, because they were on such a hot stretch in that second half. They put it all together after 3 quarters of the season, and really, ultimately, it's just that last quarter of the season that matters. The Detroit Tigers pitching in the last 30 days is ranked 1 in MLB. So, I mean, even though we're looking at these effectively no-name players to us, they are pulling their weight and carrying the load, and the offense is ranked 10th in OPS in the last 30 days. So it's not blowing the top off the baseball, but when you have the number 1 pitching and the number 10 offense, obviously you are now a top 5 team in baseball.
Yeah, would you consider now, I mean, the season's almost over next, so would you consider now that the Tigers have officially broken out of that rebuild that they've been on for God knows how many years?
It is really difficult because we're talking about, a month and a half, right?
Half
of being really, really good. But I do think that, there is a lot of comparisons that can be drawn between this team and that Arizona Diamondbacks team that we saw last season. And obviously now they are, they have taken that next step and they have higher expectations than they did walking into last season. So, I mean, I think that the Detroit Tigers are entering into a new space for sure because, looking at free agency and looking at the offseason and how you attack the offseason is very different if you make postseason compared to if you don't make postseason. And I think that from an ownership standpoint and just from, kind of the way that we look at the Detroit Tigers, I'm going to feel a lot differently about them if they are in that wild card spot, if they finish off this historic comeback than I would had they not been there. Because then at least I know it's like, okay, you know what? You guys can be a postseason team with what you have right now without Jack Flaherty.
I think they can.
Without all of these other players.
Clearly they can. You know what I mean? Clearly they're showing that they can. And, something special always happens at the trade deadline. Like, they sold away Mark Hanna, and they got rid of Mr. Flaherty. But also, they didn't have a lot of Javier Baez. So you're losing a lot of guys that have regular playing time for you, and you kind of change your identity, which also forces some guys step up into roles that they're not used to being in. And now you're seeing what can happen with full playing time with a full squad and having guys like Colt Keith and Kerry Carpenter actually play a full season and get regular playing time in baseball. What could they do for you? So for me, this always feels like a new team after the deadline. And this new Tigers team, yes, I think they can be out of the rebuild very soon. And I think they're going to approach free agency a lot differently than they did, because the difference between this free agency and the one before where they signed Javier Baez, they needed Javier Baez to be the guy. They don't need whoever they're adding in on their team to be the dude. You can go get, I've heard of something like this out there where they're looking at like Alex Bregman to come in and play third base, although they got some good third basements over there. Maybe they get him to come play some third base for the Detroit Tigers, right? Like, sure, why not? He doesn't have to be your guy. He could be a nice complimentary piece to lead this young squad, and it'll be great. I think they're out of the rebuild, man, and I think it's their time to shine.
I mean, I definitely could see that as well. Like, we gotta watch them finish this off because, I mean, I think the worst thing right now, if you're a Tigers fan, like, you finally have hope. There's a little bit of hope right here.
Welcome to hell.
If the Minnesota Twins somehow in the last 5-6 games of the season pull it back and there you drop out, like, that would just be the worst possible thing ever if you're a Tigers fan,